Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. This is the most important week for the stock market. And if you watch Marvel movies like I do, we're in the end game now. And here's why. There are a lot of economic events that are going to hit all between Tuesday and Friday. And I can't say whether or not it is going to be an amazingly positive week, which is what I hope, or an awful, terrible week. I don't know in which direction this is going to go, but I can tell you this. It's going to be newsy. Your phone will be buzzing. I will be making a lot of content, and the market will certainly be moving. So let's start with what is going on this week. First, we have earnings. And yes, earnings have been going on for the last 2 weeks or so, but this is the big week where you get a lot of the tech names that are going to announce in the same week. I still don't know why they do this. The reason though, and I'll put a tweet up here, or my tweet up here rather, and show you just the gravity, the magnitude of exactly what's happening and who's reporting and why that is such a big deal. So you have Google, also Alphabet, you got Facebook, also Meta, you've got Apple, and then you also have Amazon, all reporting the same week. That's just 4 companies, but those 4 companies alone make up nearly 20% of the entire S&P 500. Another way of looking at that is 4 companies make up the value of 20% of the entire stock market. That's it. Just those 4 companies. And when that happens, when they do well, usually the market does well. When they don't do well, usually the market does not do well. And it's kind of a domino effect. And we've seen this in smaller scales in that, let's say Snapchat, when they announced their earnings, I think it was last Thursday, Thursday or Friday, when they first announced their earnings, the stock dropped 25%. Guess what else also dropped? Alphabet dropped because Alphabet owns YouTube. YouTube is a social media platform in which they make most of their money from advertising. So Alphabet dropped, but then also Facebook dropped. They have nothing really to do with Snapchat, but it's just a domino effect. And Snapchat is a smaller player. So imagine what happens to Snapchat and the rest of the market if both Google and Facebook say, look, we're not seeing the same advertising dollars across the board. That's going to be real bad for the entire market, but especially for smaller companies like Snapchat, probably Pinterest, definitely Twitter, and others. And that weighs on the entire stock market because those 2 companies are quite massive. Then again, you've got Amazon and also Apple too. Again, I don't know in which direction either of these are going to go, or all 4 of them. I have no idea in what direction they're going to go, but I do know that they do weigh on the market. And this is not to say that these are the only companies announcing. There are tons of companies. Friday is going to be a big day for oil companies, Chevron, Exxon, and plenty of others on Friday. I should probably do an entire video of just what companies are announcing earnings when. If you want me to do that, feel free to put that in the comments below and we can talk about that. Now, the next thing, and it's not the only thing, but the next big thing is what happens on the 28th. On the 28th, we are going to find out whether or not the stock market is in an official recession. Remember, you need GDP, gross domestic product, to be negative in 2 consecutive quarters. It was negative 1.4%, if I remember correctly, from Q1. We're going to find out exactly what it is for this upcoming quarter. There are economists that say it is going to be one. You've got others that says that it's not. We don't really know. I will say this. While you may feel that way, right, that gas prices did go down a little bit, but still high. But gas prices, groceries, energy, all that stuff, we may feel like it because it's not fun, but that is not the definition of recession or not. It is the economy expanding or is it shrinking? We're going to find out on the 28th. So keep your eye out for that. Here's the thing though. I'm not going to allow what the announcement is, whether recession or not, to dictate what I'm going to invest in. We've already been talking about that. If you are concerned about a recession, you shouldn't have to wait on the 28th to then decide what to do with your portfolio. We've been talking about it for a while. It's one of the reasons why I invested in T-Mobile, one of the reasons I invested in Dollar Tree, because one, those are relatively recession proof. I like to say recession resistant. I don't believe that anything is recession proof. We've seen what I've lived through 2020, as have all of y'all who are still here, and everything we thought about the market was blown out the water. But in either case, I started to move my portfolio to places that are very consistent and solid regardless of what the market and the economy typically do. You should have made that move as well. You have to invest in what I invest in. You make that your own decision. But we cover that multiple times to get you ready for this particular week. Okay. So you got that, but also that's on 28th. Recession announcement 28th at 8:30 a.m. Okay, so you're gonna get it before the market opens. I don't know what direction the market's gonna go. I could argue both ways. I could argue that, hey, we all expected a recession. You get a confirmation of it, and the market is fine. That could happen. In my view, the market had been dropping because we thought it was going to be here. Now it's here. Hopefully things are going to be over and the market does good things. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. If it is not a recession, which could be shocking to some, then great. I need the market to start moving upward. We'll see in what direction it goes. It's not going to affect what I do because I've already positioned myself last month and we've been talking about it for a while. The other thing, the 27th, the day before the recession announcement, we're going to hear from Jerome Powell. He's going to give us some economic updates about what he thinks the economy is doing. This is always important because almost any time that the Fed chair speaks, the market does move. There have been days where everything is great, the market is up, and then at 1 p.m. when he gets up and starts talking, market tanks. It happens. I've seen the opposite where the market is down. It's a terrible day. The Fed chair speaks and the market just takes off. Those things do happen. So just be aware that on the 27th, things could be a little weird. Just watch the clock, watch the charts. If you're somebody who wants to be entertained by how the market moves, it's a little stressful for some, but if you want to be entertained, just sit by your computer, watch the chart move on the 27th. I can almost guarantee you that you're going to see a swing whenever he starts talking. It just happens. Now, do I want to invest during that time? Do I want to, be more risky during that time? Personally, I do not. But I'm just throwing it out there that is a thing that does occur. And then on Friday, which is the 29th, you're going to get the inflation numbers. We'll see. I can't call it. I don't know where inflation is going to go. We've been talking about, they give us these numbers at the end of what feels like every month now, which is standard. But in either case, it was 8.6 and it was 9.1. They keep raising interest rates, and we'll see where it is. Now, I would expect it to go lower. That's what I would expect, but I also would expect to go lower after the first 2 or 3 times they raised interest rates. It didn't happen. One thing is because gas prices have come down a bit, that fact should be factored in to this week's number because it accounts for last month. So we'll see. One other thing, and this is again showing you all the things that are happening. The Federal Reserve is expected to announce a 0.75% rate hike, so 75 basis points. That may or may not help. We know what that's supposed to do by now. We know what companies are supposed to help and hurt. The market can say, great, we expected a rate hike. It can say, great, we see the Federal Reserve is trying to tackle inflation, the market goes up. Or you can say it's too much and the market falls or does nothing. Again, for me, it is unpredictable to see in which way the market is going to move. So let's run down all that stuff again. So I've got Facebook, I've got Google, also known as Meta. I hate switching these names back and forth. Apple and Amazon all reporting this week. I also have oil companies reporting on this coming Friday. I got a speech, some comments from Jay Powell on the 27th. We have a possible rate hike at some point this week. I don't have the exact date for that. I've got inflation numbers on the 29th, and then I have the GDP update on the 28th. I'm sorry that it's not in chronological order, but that is all the stuff that is going to happen this week. The market is bound to react in some way. Now, the last thing that we need to talk about is, well, what should you do, right? How should you react to this? My thing is, I think as an investor, whether you're new, whether you've been doing it for 10 years or what have you, you want to have what your plan is. And I would encourage you, if you don't know what your investing plan is, take an actual piece of paper or a back of an envelope or whatever and write it down right now before all this stuff happens. Because what you're going to see, whether it's on social media, whether it's on TV, whether it's your friend yelling at you at the office, your email, whatever, people are going to be very loud about whatever is going to happen. Okay, positive or negative. It may be accurate. It most likely is not going to be accurate. But in either case, you need to say, look, this is my plan, and whatever's going to happen should not impact my plan. And if it within that plan, you say, oh, recession happened, then do this, then go and do that. What you don't want to do is allow the headlines, allow all of this stuff to fester and let that make your investment decision. That doesn't make sense. If you're a long-term investor, this week does not matter. Okay, if you know you're going to be investing for the next 5, 10, 15 years, what happens this week does not matter to you. Really, what happens this entire year doesn't matter to you either, but that's a story for another day. That I'm not making no changes, I'm not selling nothing this week because my plan is to change my investments in December, period. That's the plan. And if you are looking for something to invest in, you want to start looking now. If you haven't already, go back and check all the videos we've talked about what works in recessions. If that's the case, what's working this year anyway, and talk about the top. I think we did like a video on the top 3 to 5 lessons we've learned from 2022 as a whole. Feel free to start doing that if you have not already. But what I'm not going to do is wait for somebody to tell me whether or not there's a recession, even though we're 7 months into it, and then after 7 months start to make changes to my investments because you're reacting to it, right? That doesn't make sense. We've been dealing with inflation this whole time. You're reacting to it at this point, right? You're letting that information then change your investment strategy when you should say, look, this is my strategy. What stocks, what index funds, what things do I need to do to help me through what I think is going to happen or what is currently happening? That is how you take the emotion out of investing. That is how you are able to sit tall and say, oh, what happened? Okay, we were right here, we were wrong there, because you already had a plan that you can easily adjust when needed, but also you're not going to be reactionary. And that is why I see a lot of investors do, especially if you're new, and it's fine, it happens. I was like that too when I started. And the key here is you don't want to say, oh my God, something fell by X%, let me get up out of this. You might not have to. Right? It depends, right? You got to do your research, understand what is going on. I've been saying since, like March of last year, maybe, when we talked about the privacy rules between Apple and Facebook and how that was going to be a thing for all social media companies, Snapchat included. We talked about that. So no, I wouldn't invest in Snapchat in 2022 when that happened in 2021. And that has not been solved. Right, it's a reason why Meta, I own it, and only reason I still have it is because I had it 10 years ago, so I'm still up. But I would not buy Meta now due to those same issues. I'm going to find out a lot more about the company once they announce earnings. If I sell it, I'm going to sell it when? Not this week. I'm going to sell it in December after everything is played out because that is my plan. It could work, it could not work. However, from experience and data and everything else, we have shown that process tends to work over time. And the last thing I'll say is this: we don't know where the market is going to go between now and the end of the year. We don't. Okay, there is a case that the market could be positive. The last few weeks has been surprising, right? I wouldn't have expected July to play out the way it has thus far. There's still plenty of time for the market to be positive. I would not, bet money on that fact, but I will still be investing in that for the long term because I don't retire at the end of this month. So you do just want to keep everything in context, take a step back, know, just like on a roller coaster, know there's going to be some ups and downs. Know what you're getting into this particular week. So just want to throw it out there on your calendar. We'll be talking about almost everything unless something even more crazy happens this week, and we'll take it from there. All right. That is it for me. Make sure that you check out the members only. We do exclusive content every single week. It's only $10 a month, and that's it. If you want exclusive breakdowns, videos, all that stuff, it is inside the members only group. All right, that is it for me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.